and welcome to You Talking to Me, where today we are going to talk about Turkey and its role for the European Union and the uncertain future of the EU-Turkey migration deal. And I'm very happy to welcome in our studio Hugues Baudouin from Radio Classique.
Bonjour.
And Artyom Skonovs from Latvia's Radio.
Hello.
Hello, and of course we're going to be joined by other journalists of our network, starting with Gigi Danièle, who is joining us from Milano, from Radio 24. Gigi, in Italy, there has been a discussion following the announcement of President Erdogan to eventually reintroduce death penalty in Turkey. Europe has been very clear on that. One cannot introduce the capital punishment and be a member of the European Union. But Gigi, do we even have to mention that?
Hello, Danièle. Yes, actually, the debate is on. But as you suggest, there is no debate because, of course, Italy is a country where the issue of death penalty has been faced many, many years ago. So what's to add is probably that it surprised me and probably many other people that we are discovering Turkey's complexity and contradiction. So Turkey is a country where, just to give you an example, a few examples, there is a very hard control under cultural minority, religious, and so on. It's a country where whole newspapers are just leveled on the need of the government. So it sounds quite surprising that Europe, like all the countries that are part of it, and so Italy also, surprise and realize how Turkey could be and can be a complex friend to have. And in the meantime, the role of Turkey, which is so much important, not only in the subject, in the dossier of migration. So a lot of contradiction to face.
Thank you, Gigi. We are going to talk about these contradictions. The spokesperson, the chief spokesperson of the European Commission, Margaritis Schinas, he had some difficulties these days to explain or to answer journalists' question on the future of the EU migration deal. Here's the official position of the Commission.
The European Union will uphold its part of the deal and will continue to implement the statement. And we expect and hope that Turkey will continue to do the same. This is the official Commission position.
Artyom, do you see any future for this EU-Turkey deal?
Well, it's definitely hard to say for sure at this particular stage. So on one hand, Turkey is really one of the few countries, if not the only country in the region that is actually listening to what EU got to say. We are not, as a European Union, really able to affect or have a significant impact on other countries. So at least it was listening up until now. Now we'll see how it's going to continue from now on. So obviously, Turkey also needs EU for certain things, money being the biggest of them, but it feels that Europe needs Turkey much more, both in order to stop migration, to fight with ISIS, to deal with the situation in Syria, and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of things why Europe needs Turkey, and Europe wants and needs to cooperate. And at the end of the day, it's also a NATO member state. You can't just, impose sanctions on them or something, or just block them. So it's a difficult situation, and it's hard to see how it's going to unfold, because Europe feels that they need to exercise certain pressure, but to what extent and will Turkey listen is unclear.
Yeah, thank you. Let's turn to Holger Winkelmann from AMS, from Germany. That's actually a country for which the EU-Turkey migration deal is very important. German Chancellor Angela Merkel pushed very much for this deal. This week, German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier said in Brussels that it's not very likely that Turkey will now change its terrorism laws, which is one one of the conditions of to get visa liberalization, and which is the request of Turkey within this migration deal. Holger, does Germany still believe in the deal?
Hello, Danièle. I think that's not necessarily a question of faith or belief. Many people here in Germany see the deal with Turkey very skeptical, not only since the last weekend, but very many also know that there's currently probably no alternative, because how would this alternative look like? Either the refugees remain then in Greece, or they may go in Europe where they want to go, and many of them would come to Germany then. And although there are many, many Germans who would find this okay, politically, it would not be only for Angela Merkel difficult. Perhaps the right-wing populists like the AfD would then get more votes. And next year there will be elections in Germany too. So I think it remains difficult. The vast majority of Germans reject what Erdogan does since many years. But to cut the relationship would probably bring new difficulties. So it's very, very difficult, I think.
Thank you, Holger. What the Turkish government did very soon after the coup was to release thousands of civil servants in Turkey. Let's turn to Barbara Peranic from Croatian HRT. Barbara, in Croatia, judges reacted. They are worrying about their colleagues in Turkey.
The alarm went off when it became apparent that Turkey's response included suspending more than 2,700 judges and prosecutors without any proper investigation. The Union of Croatian Judges supported an open letter which was issued by their umbrella organization in the EU. Briefly, the letter says that a suspension of a judge should be only foreseen in case of a concrete suspicion regarding a serious misbehavior, and that there was no single evidence reported that even one of the fired judges was in any way involved in the coup. It's also worth saying that the European Association of Judges expressed a great concern that the military coup is being exploited to conclude the efforts already taken earlier to remove judges and prosecutors who are not in line with the government expectations and to substitute them by loyal followers. The association therefore urges all the international authorities to be alert and to follow closely the situation in Turkey. Until now, the courts have resisted Erdogan's dominance more than most other public institutions, but this is about to change, obviously. So the situation is complex and volatile, and I'm sure that Turkey will stay in the public focus for a long time.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. That's for sure. Actually, there was one EU commissioner whose reaction was a bit clearer than maybe the one of the others. That's the commissioner in charge of enlargement, the Austrian Johannes Hahn. He said that he's worried about the situation, and he said that obviously something had been prepared in Turkey.
I mean, the lists are available already after the event, indicates that this was prepared, that at a certain moment it should be used.
Hugo, if this was the case, this would mean that rule of law has not been respected, is not respected in Turkey. EU leaders, such as also High Representative Federica Mogherini, they were very clear. They said rule of law, the respect of the rule of law is essential.
Yeah,
but actually, what kind of pressure, Artyom's mentioned it already, but what kind of pressure can EU really put on Turkey?
I'm not sure the EU can do much more than condemning formally what's happening now in Turkey, but I'm not sure they want to do more. It's probably more important for Western allies to keep Turkey as an ally, as a member of NATO, than having Turkey as a candidate country to EU. We have to bear in mind that in 1980, when there was a military coup d'etat in Turkey, there was a formal condemnation of what happened, but nothing happened since afterwards. And we even saw that Western allies, Sweden, France, Germany, strengthened their relations with the Turkish government and even sold more weapons to Turkey because it was was very much strategic for the Western allies to keep Turkey in that alliance. And the fact that Turkey is a candidate country, I don't see it as a very strategic for EU, especially now in the perspective of the Brexit. I mean, UK was the strongest support of Turkey as a candidate. I'm not sure there are many countries today who support Turkey as a candidate. So, what would be the risk of suspending, for instance, the negotiation with Turkey? I'm not sure that would be that important for Turkey if the negotiations would be suspended.
Will the EU have difficulties to justify going on with Turkey as an ally with all the events going on, for example, in France? What is the public opinion?
I'm not sure that the public opinion does care that much about what's happening in Turkey. When we see, for instance, the terrorist attack in France and in Germany, what the public opinion see today is that we see that terrorism is on their soil. The problem of Turkey, it could be a problem for if there was a migration flow from Turkey to Western. We could expect that if the situation could happen. If the situation is getting worse in Turkey, we could see Turkish refugees coming to Europe. That would be a concern. But I don't see the political situation today as a problem for the public opinion. In certain extent, we don't care.
Artyoms, Turkey is a member of NATO. You mentioned it. Latvia is too, and it's very important to be a member. Also, in terms of security, it might be a special topic in your country, and your country was one of those supporting very much that Turkey should become a member of the EU. Do you think this will change now?
I don't think that this will change clearly because we were very supportive of Turkey and the democratic processes and democratic developments there because, Turkey is an important country in the region. And the dilemma here really is between the two things. If Turkey is not trying to become a European state, a European-like state, then Turkey will likely to fall back and rather become the state where the system is more similar to the other countries of the region, or it will restart relationships with Russia, closer relationships with Russia. We already seen how Erdogan apologized to the Russian President Putin. So it's not going to stay just where it is in the middle, in this semi-acceptable state. It's going to go either direction. Therefore, it is important that, for the stability of the region, that this country is sort of aiming to become more democratic and more European-like for all of us, even though we know that it's probably not going to become a member of the European Union anytime soon, if ever at all. It's more the direction of where you're looking at. And then now the signs are more difficult and more worrying, and then we'll see if it's actually going to be kind of sliding back.
Looks like both sides never really believe Turkey becoming a member of the European Union.
They were trying to sell it internally, but I don't think politically the political leadership really believed in this. I think internally, yes, they were saying it. It's the same that happens in Ukraine, when they call association agreement already almost like a membership, or, that's for the political reasoning. But I don't really think that the political leadership in the EU and in Ankara were really clear about this or hopeful.
Okay, finally, let's turn to a country that definitely has also a very special relationship with Turkey. That's Greece. We're joined by Stavros Samoulidis from Athens on the phone from Sky Media. Stavros, Greece is in a difficult situation right now, especially with 8 soldiers who fled from Turkey to Greece, and they're asking for asylum.
Yes, well, the first concern of the Greek government is to make sure that this case does not affect relations between the two countries. On Tuesday, there was a very harsh statement made by the Turkish ambassador here in Greece, underlying that if the officers are not quickly returned to Turkey, this would affect negatively the bilateral relations between the countries. And this immediately, of course, as you can imagine, triggered reactions by the Greek foreign ministry, because the Greek foreign ministry is trying to proceed by the rules and based on international law and not return them without any prior judgment. A second statement by the ambassador of Turkey here in Greece was released clarifying that This is due to the public sentiment in Turkey at the moment that demands that Greece shows some support by releasing those 8 officers, returning them to Turkey. However, I have to say that at the moment those officers have applied for asylum in Greece, and the interviews of those 8 people are scheduled only on August 1st, so we still have to wait a few weeks before we have the final decision on what to do with them. We also have to stress that Greece has been trying for decades now to establish normal relationships with neighboring Turkey, and this is especially important and true when one considers the history between the two countries and the fact that Turkey is frequently violating with military planes the Greek airspace. So we are in a very tense situation even without those 8 soldiers. And there was a similar case, I have to say that, in 1998, the Öcalan case, where they were also, the Turkish were also asking for its return. It didn't end well at the time, so we certainly don't want to repeat this. We want to keep our relationships as normal as possible.
Okay, thank you, Stavros. Thank you all. Thank you, Hugues and Artyoms, for joining us. Turkey will be on top of the news during the summer. I'm sure about that. We will be back at the end of August. Thanks for watching. See you soon on You Talking to Me.